So you can see here, we are talking about functions here. Like this is the N1 we are using for the, let's start from the beginning. Okay.
Okay.
Suppose we are taking using the input function, and we take input in the number 1, and then we take another input in the input num2, and then we are casting these input values which we have taken as an integer and storing in the variables n1 and n2. This is called type casting. Okay, because we know that,
Okay.
yeah, we know that the value when we take input using the input function, it takes input as a string, but we want to convert these strings into integer. Okay, so we casting here. So you can see here we have used two functions. One is input function, which is the built-in function of Python, and second one is the int function, which is also a built-in function. Every function has different you can say the different working. For example, input is used to take the input, and int function is used to cast a string into the integer. Similarly, you must remember that we had used some str function. We have also used the length function. Okay, so these are the different functions we have used, we had already used. So now we want to add these two numbers. We have the choice here. We can look at sum, and we can just simply write here n1 plus n2, and this will be summed here, and then we can print here the value of sum. Look at, if we run this, you can see here 34, then we type 23, and we got the answer. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, but the thing we are going to learn is, can we do our program? Can we write our own functions? This is the topic of today in our tutorial. So how to work with Python functions. We write the functions so that our block of code, and we can call them again and again. There are two options that whenever you define a function, two things to be remembered. Number one, the function name. Okay, you can write it like a variable name. You can write the function name like you write a variable name. Okay, the second thing is the arguments and parameters, the values which are passed to that function. Okay, these are optional thing. If you want to pass a value, you may pass it. Otherwise, your function may not have any argument and any parameters. The third thing is the return type. Okay, the return value. What this mean is this mean that whether your function executed will return some value, or it will not return some value. These three things are common in any function. First thing, the name is 100% compulsory part. The argument and parameter are optional part. Similarly, if you want to return some value, or you do not want to return some value. So the first part, the function name, and after the function name, you write here. The fourth thing is called the body of the function. Okay, body of the function that you write. So these first, function name and the body, they are the compulsory part. Okay, and argument and the return value is the optional part. For example, now we write a function that can add these two numbers. We are just working on. This sum is done with the help of a simple statement, but we want to write a function that will take two values and will print the sum. To write a function in Python, we use the def keyword, and then we write the name. So I put it name my add, and because I want to add two numbers, so I will pass two variables. The name of the argument could be similar and could be different. Whatever the name you can write here, it doesn't mean that if you are going to pass n1 and n2, then the argument name or parameter name should be same. You can even type here a, and here you can type the p. No, this is the body. Now, from after column, you are going to start your body. In the body section, we are going to make A plus B, whatever the values will be, it will be added. And then we are going to print like sum is equal to, and we will write here the sum. So this is our function, which will, what is the name of this function? MyAdd. Now look at these four things, okay? What is the name of our function? You will have to put up here. Our function name is MyAdd. Okay, so what arguments and parameters? It take two parameters, okay? It will take two parameters, and these parameters will be of number type because we are going to process these numbers. So the next thing is, what is the return value? There is no return statement in the body of a function. So it means that this function will return nothing. Okay. So that's why this function do not have any return type mentioned or return statement. And what is the body of the function? Body of function is about line number 10 and line number 11. So this is a complete function. Now, the second thing is that how we call this function. Where you want to call this function, you will just type its name and you will pass the parameter. We want to pass N1 and N2. You understand?
Yes.
Whenever this statement will be executed, the control will shift to this line, 9 number line. When your compiler will reach at line number 20, it will go back to the line number 9. And this N1 value will be given to the A, and this N2 value will be given to the B. Then this A and B are plus added to each other, and then this will be the run. We can see here the same input and same output. Look at here, 34. We write 34, then we type here 23. And when we will press enter, you will see it is giving their sum is equal to 57. You understand?
Yes.
Okay, so this is simple. Yeah, this is asking you can use the sum name, so we can make it sum n. Okay, because we cannot use the name that is already used by the Python itself. Okay, we run it again. That are the reserved words. Okay, so this is 23. Now you can see here sum is equal to 57, and we are using this one here. You understand?
Yes.
So this is the function which is not returning any value. Now we try to write a function which will return some value. Okay? So we write here my subtraction. For example, I want to write my sub, and similarly, I will pass two values, n1 and n2, and I want this function should return a value. So I will go there. I will write here def my sub. Similarly, it will pass two values here, a comma b. You can give any name. This is not compulsory. A, B, you can write it X, Y, but you must keep in mind that these are the local variables. These variables will only be accessible within this function, not outside this function. We calculate here the difference is equal to X minus Y, and then we are going to return the value of this difference. Okay, so look at here. Now again we will check here. The name of the function is my sub. Okay, and the parameters are X and Y, two values. The return value is the difference. So this function is the function which will return some value. And body of the function, again the line number 14 and the line number 15. You got this? Yeah, you got this?
Yes.
Okay, now when a function is a return type function, then you cannot call in this way. Okay, look at here. We have called this function. This was without return value. But when you have a return type function, then you cannot call in this way. You will have to put some variable here. For example, let's suppose d is equal to this one. Okay, in this way, because this function will execute and it will return some value, and that value will be assigned to the variable d here. Okay, you can make a print statement here like we difference, and then we will write here the d value. Okay, we run this one.
Hello?
Yes, yes, you can. Yeah, look at here.
Never mind. Like you were kind of frozen.
Yes, so the internet connection is not so good here in my village. Okay, that's why it is frozen. Okay, now you can properly hear me.
Yes.
Okay, look at here. I put here 34 and then I put here 23. The sum is equal to 57 and the difference is equal to 11. Okay,
Okay.
you understand how I have written. This is the function without return statement, and this is the function which is going to take two values and returning one value. You understand?
Okay.
So look at this
Yes.
is like the same. We are using here the int function, but the built-in function become the red color. Okay, this shows that this is the Python function, and the function name that we are using, we are creating. It will not change the color. So it means that these are the user-defined function with the help of def keyword. You understand? So there are
Yes.
basically two types of these are the types of function. If someone asks you types of the function, so we can say that one are the function with which return some value, okay, and the second
Okay.
one are which do not return some value, because parameter and argument may or may not have been taken. If we want to write some function, we do not take any argument, then we can write that one, and that type of function will be remain blank here. So this is about calling a function here, and these are the arguments. Arguments are the information that we passed into the function. We have already checked this one, okay, how we can pass the function here. Then parameters are arguments. Sometimes we call it parameters, sometimes we call it arguments, okay. So there is a very clear difference between
Okay.
them. The term parameter and argument can be used with the same thing, okay, there is no difference. But a little difference is that a parameter is a variable listed in the parentheses when we define a function. For example, these are the parameters, okay, a and b. When we are defining a
Okay.
function, the variables that we are defining during the definition of a function, that is called parameter. And here we are passing these values n1 comma n2, then these values are called the argument, okay. The argument is the value that is sent to the function when it is called. So this is a little difference between argument and parameter, but this is not a hard. We can, this is arguments that we have passed, and these are the parameters who have received these the values of these arguments and then process these values. Okay, you got this point? Then
Yes.
the next question is that how many number of arguments can we pass? Okay, so it doesn't have any limit. You can pass as much argument as you want. You can pass 2 arguments, 3 arguments, nothing is here, okay. So it will not
Oh,
suffer any. You can also pass some arguments like the arrays of an argument, arguments like this is arbitrary. The number of argument is unknown. You put static and you can put as many arguments as you want. This will be an array type of argument. If you want to type like 2 argument, 3 argument, or 4 argument, these arguments will be there and you can process those arguments as well, okay. So this is
oh,
about the functions, how we can define function and how we can write our own functions. Okay, so in modern
oh,
programming, because we are going to learn object-oriented programming in our next phase. So in the object-oriented programming, we know that every object is defined in terms of the data members and the functions. So that's why we are learning how to write a function, how to declare a function, and then how to call that function here. You understand?
okay. Yes.
Okay, so we will try to make our previous program with the help of a function. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to transfer the control to you.